Hi, I'm Bob Lang, Executive Editor of Popular Woodworking Magazine. The other day we were out in a shop and got curious about what the inside of a mortise and tenon joint looks like. For one thing, we fit them a little differently than a lot of people may assume. We also got curious about what happens when the glue goes on. So I made this up so we could see what goes on inside the mortise and tenon joint. I took this board, I put 3 mortises in with a hollow chisel mortiser. Then I cut one side off the board, replaced it with a piece of 1/4-inch plexiglass. So we can see what goes on as the joint goes together. I also wanted to point out the condition of this back surface. It's not very smooth. That's pretty much how it comes off the mortiser, and I don't think there's any need to get inside there and dress that up. Senior editor Glen, Huey, and I each put our glue on in a different method. And we really don't know which one of us works better, so we're going to see. What I tend to do is just pour the glue in on the top edge. And my theory is that glue is going to run down into the mortise, and when I put the tenon in, it's going to spread it all around the inside of the joint. And you can see there's a very fine film between the wood and the plexiglass here.
I come at my mortise and tenons a little bit differently than what Bob does. I do put glue down in my mortise, but I also take a small acid brush and I work the glue into the face of the tenon as well. So the way I really go about this is I'll put my glue in my mortise and I'll put my brush in and squeeze it around, and then I'll pull the excess glue out of that mortise and use that on my tenon. So here's what it looks like up close. All right, so as I'm doing this, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the front edge. I'm going to put glue on the back edge as well. And you can see it's already running down inside. Then I take my brush and smear it around all the front face, the back face, and then if there's excess down in there, I'll bring that in and work it down into the face of my tenon as well. Now I don't have enough for the back side, so I'm just going to add a little bit more. Now my process takes a little bit longer. This is why we're interested on what actually does happen when you do it. So from here, I'm ready to slide mine down in as well. And there you go. Now as I compare the two, I think I can see a little bit more of a cloudiness here, which means that I have a little bit more glue in between the two surfaces, on the face of the tenon and then also on the side of the mortise as well. Bob, what do you think?
I hate to admit it, but I think Glen may be right. My method has got glue on the full area, but it may be a little less glue than would really be optimal for a good, strong joint. So the third method that neither one of us use all the time would be to put glue just on the tenon. And I sometimes do that if I've got a through mortise and tenon. If I don't want any glue on the part of the tenon, it'll eventually be exposed. So we're just going to put glue on the tenon, put it in the joint, and see what happens. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of glue, grab the brush to spread it out, try that on the other side as well. And let's see what happens when that goes into the mortise. And a lot coming out on the shoulder. Which is kind of curious that both of us avoided that with our earlier method.